The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days straight. At Route 9 Diner, the neon sign flickered weakly against the stormy night, casting pink light on wet asphalt. Inside, a jukebox hummed softly, and the smell of coffee and motor oil filled the air. Then, the door swung open. A group of bikers walked in, leather jackets, roaring laughter, heavy boots echoing against the tiled floor. And at the center of them was Jake Iron Miller, leader of the Steel Serpents, a man the whole town feared. No one ever looked him in the eye. But that night, Jake's gaze stopped on a waitress. She couldn't have been more than 25. Her name tag read Lily. She smiled politely as she poured their coffee. But something about that smile was off. When she reached for a cup, her sleeve slipped back, revealing faint purple bruises along her wrist. Jake noticed. And for the first time in a long time, something in him shifted. After the gang left that night, Jake couldn't shake the image. Those bruises weren't random. He'd seen enough pain in his life to know the signs. So the next evening, he came back alone. Lily hesitated when she saw him. "Coffee?" she asked softly. He nodded. "And maybe a name to go with it," he said, trying to sound casual. But his voice carried concern. She smiled again, tired and fragile. "Lily, been working here a few months?" Jake leaned forward. "You okay, Lily?" Her eyes darted to the window, where a dark sedan was parked, engine running. That's when Jake understood. Her abusive ex. The reason for those bruises. The reason she flinched every time the door opened. Jake wasn't a saint. He'd done things he wasn't proud of, fights, debts, even a few nights in county jail. But he had one rule. You don't hurt people who can't fight back. That night, Jake waited in the rain. When the sedan door opened and the man stepped out, Jake was already there, leather jacket drenched, fists clenched. The man sneered. "You stay out of this, biker." Jake's voice was calm but cold. "You hurt her again and you'll answer to me and my whole crew." No one knew exactly what happened next. Some say Jake just talked to him. Others say the man left town with a broken jaw and a new respect for silence. A week later, the bruises were fading from Lily's arms. She still worked the morning shift, only now she smiled for real. And Jake? He stopped by often, sometimes for pie, sometimes just to make sure she was okay. He told his gang the diner was off limits, and word spread fast. No drunks, no fights, no trouble. The Route 9 Diner became the safest place in town. Months later, when Lily saved enough to leave and start her own little cafe by the coast, the Steel Serpents showed up, not to scare anyone, but to help her move. Jake even built her a sign himself. Lily's Light. People still talk about that biker gang leader, the one who used to strike fear but ended up saving someone's life instead. They say kindness can come from the unlikeliest hearts, and sometimes the toughest men carry the gentlest souls. Because real strength isn't about how hard you hit. It's about how fiercely you protect. A few months had passed since that rainy night, and the town had started to notice something different about Jake. The same man who once led roaring motorcycles through the streets at midnight now showed up quietly at the diner every morning, helping Lily carry boxes or fix the flickering lights above the counter. No one dared to question it. Not his gang, not the locals, but everyone could see it. The man who once lived by his fists was now living by something gentler. Purpose. Lily's laughter had returned too. It filled the small diner like sunlight through old windows. She'd begun sketching designs for her dream cafe on napkins during her breaks. Jake would sit across from her, pretending to grumble, but he secretly loved hearing her plans. One evening, she told him softly, "You didn't have to help me, Jake." He looked at her, eyes steady. "Maybe not. But maybe I needed to." It was the first time he'd admitted it. Helping her hadn't just changed her life, it had changed his. When Lily finally decided to leave and open her cafe by the coast, Jake and his crew showed up before dawn. The sound of engines filled the quiet street, but this time, it wasn't for chaos. It was for farewell. They packed her boxes, tied them to trucks, and rode in formation behind her, all the way out of town. The townsfolk stood outside their doors, watching the sight with awe. The same gang they once feared, now escorting a young woman toward her new beginning. Before she left, Lily hugged Jake. "You gave me my life back," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Nah," he said. "You just needed someone to remind you it was still yours." Then she drove away, the taillights fading into the golden dawn, and Jake stood there long after she was gone, rain beginning to fall again, washing the dust from his boots. Back at the diner, a few weeks later, the waitress booth she once used still had daisies in a coffee mug. Jake sat there sometimes, staring out the window, quieter now. Not broken, just changed. People said the town felt different after that, softer somehow, because when the fiercest man in town finds his heart again, it reminds everyone that even the darkest souls can still choose the light. And that's exactly what Jake did. One act of kindness at a time.